Welcome, everybody, to the Competition Archery Media Podcast, where we explore all things related to competition archery. I'm your host, PJ Reilly. With us today from Michigan, we have Cara Kelly. Cara, thanks for being here.
No problem. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
First, as we've been doing with people in these unusual times, tell us what your world looks like right now. What's happening? What are you doing?
Well, I just had a baby.
Right. Congratulations, by the way.
Thanks. He's a month old today, actually. So, I mean, it's a scary time to have a child for sure.
Yeah.
Fortunately enough, it's our second child, so we don't feel like we're completely out in an island all alone because we've done this once before.
Right.
But he's only been able to meet his grandparents, and that's it. So
Oh,
it's
yeah. No family. Right. That's
yeah,
difficult.
so very difficult. And luckily, my husband and I have, you know, we work together at the shop, and the shop's not been open. So, because we don't have daycare, you don't have anything open to even rely on being able to take
Yeah.
care of your child right now. So, luckily for us, we've both been here at home with both boys, and really kind of making that adjustment for our family. And having the archery shop and not being open is scary as well. I mean, we haven't been open since March. I think it was the 16th,
Oh,
17th,
is that
right
right?
around there.
Okay.
Yeah, because Michigan has been pretty stringent on the laws and the rules and everything that's been going on, and they've put in the Stay-at-Home Act probably earlier than a lot of the other states.
Right.
So we've been in pretty much lockdown already since March 16th. So
Well, how about archery? Are you practicing? What are you practicing? How are you practicing?
being pregnant and having the kids, I planned on, and having Jace, I planned on missing indoor nationals. I
Right.
planned on missing Fort Benning. I planned on coming back the end of this month for Texas. Well, no Texas. I've kind of taken this time to really just get myself back together post baby. I've
Mm-hmm.
shot my bow a couple times just out on the bale. And we haven't even put out our 3D targets yet, which is absolutely scary and kind of eats my insides to even admit. But hopefully we'll have them out like in the next day or two. Like my husband and I have talked about it, and I'm starting to feel really good recovery wise from having the baby. And like I said, I've been out shooting a little bit, probably sooner than they ever wanted me to, but I hope they
Gotcha.
don't watch this podcast.
We won't tell them
But
anything.
I have, yeah, we won't, right? So
Well, are you one of those archers where it will take you a while to get back into shooting form, or can you kind of pick it up and it doesn't really take you a ton of time?
no, because I usually take off. I honestly take off from August. Like as soon as IBO Worlds, we fire our last arrow. I
Yeah.
do not look at my bow until November, December.
How about that?
So I use that time to really recharge my batteries mentally and physically.
Yeah.
And it's a busy time of year for us at the shop, and so no, I mean I can jump right in. For me, it's like riding a bike.
Yeah.
Pretty fortunate in that aspect. And even after I come home from a major tournament during this time of year, I will take like a week where I don't look at my bow.
A
And people
week.
are like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like,
Yeah.
I have been so mentally into that tournament, like so invested into that tournament mentally, that I need to like stop, shut down, and re-pick up my bow, like, and re-gear myself. I think we underestimate how much these tournaments mentally drain us.
Yeah.
And for me, I need that time mentally to re-get my life back in order all the way around. Um,
Yeah. How long have you been running the shop, you and Jason?
Jason and I took over running the shop last February. So it'll be a
Last February.
year,
Okay.
a little over a year now that we've done that. And, prior to that, I worked in healthcare, which is
Right.
scary to think about right now. And then he was,
Exactly.
he was an electrician. So we kind of, with our family and obviously our growing family and our young family, this was a better option for us. And so I dived all into archery all the time.
Yeah. Now, do people? Okay. What's the name of your archery shop?
Hunter's Den.
Hunter's Den. Okay. Customers at Hunter's Den, I mean, they're coming in there. Do they know who they're buying from? Or do they know this is Cara Kelly, one of the best archers in the world? Are they aware of that?
It's kind of funny because a lot of like your average Joe, no clue.
How about that?
Which is kind of cool, but like I go up and I start talking, archery with them and bows and arrows and stuff, and then they walk over to the range and they'll see some of those Happy Gilmore checks and they're like, "Who's this chick?" I'm like,
That's
"Oh yeah,
awesome.
That's me."
So there's been lots of talk. Women's Open Pro, that's an unknown distance. There's been talk about, I wish there would be a women's pro known division. There isn't, so, no point in wishing over that. But what would you say to some of the young women out there who are coming up, who maybe want to shoot pro? They seem to get hung up on that unknown part, that's the hard part. What would you say to someone in that situation?
I grew up in the era where in the Cub class at IBO, we were shooting 50 yards,
Wow.
unknown distance. And I was shooting like 35 pounds. So you could watch my arrow go. I just think that a lot of us are scared, women especially, to judge yardage.
Yeah.
And I grew up in that time frame where that's where all it was.
Yeah. IBO, that's it.
I think it makes the game more fun personally. I think it adds a whole nother element to it than knowing the yardage, focusing on where to aim and making the shot. Now you've added the whole element of, do I have the right number?
Yeah, right.
And so I really challenge all the young ladies coming up, because I know most of the classes are known now for women and for youth. I really challenge them to go out and learn how to judge yardage. And it's not a bad thing to have in your toolbox,
Sure,
your toolkit, to be able to use from hunting to, all elements of archery. And if you want to come up and play with us someday, you're going to need that in your toolbox. So
yeah.
I think that if a lot of people use it as a way to build themselves, known yardage can be a very beneficial thing. If you use it as a tool to help you learn yardage and build your confidence in your game.
Tell us about Archer, where that came from, what your involvement is with it, what its purpose is. Tell us about Archer.
So we developed Archer, and when I say we, I'd say the women's pro class as a whole developed Archer back in 2015. And so we've been around now for 5 years. And basically, the reason why we developed it was to bring light and to shed, light on women in the sport of archery and help promote and develop the sport and women growing in the sport. I'd grown up with this sport. Many other pro women have. Some have just started in the last few years. But the biggest thing that we all agreed upon was that there wasn't a shared wealth of knowledge or push for women necessarily to be in the sport. So we really wanted to inspire women, and we also give a lot of tech tips and advice, and really just try to grow this sport positively for women. When I grew up in this sport, I couldn't talk to another woman about what release to shoot to fit my hand. I couldn't have those conversations, or what stabilizers you were shooting, or any of that kind of stuff. I couldn't, and what worked and what didn't. I didn't have that opportunity. If I did, I was, as a little girl, I wasn't going to talk to a pro archer about that because I was so nervous. I was shaking it.
Connie Calloway, Ginger Moorhead.
Yeah, all those women. I grew up with them as my mentors, and so watching them get those Happy Gilmore checks, I just wanted to beat them. Yeah. But I didn't want to answer those questions. I was fangirling it. So
yeah,
I think we've really opened up the opportunity for women to talk to pros and feel comfortable doing that. And I think we've really built the camaraderie on the ranges to be more of a respect factor, rather than women really wanting to just kind of tear each other apart and beat each other down. Sometimes women can be, especially teenage girls, we can be pretty tough. We can be pretty tough. We can be women. So
Yeah.
with that being said, I think it's definitely, I see a huge improvement from the youth classes when I came up. I see a huge improvement in the pro classes from when I became a pro to now. The level of respect and camaraderie. I hope Archer has played a major role in that. I'm told it has.
Yeah.
I've seen Mike Terrell put together ASA pro-ams where the whole range is nothing but women.
Right.
It's pretty awesome. And it
Yeah.
gives all of those women an opportunity to ask us questions and to feel like one-on-one. I've met some of the best friends that I still have friendships with today because of those types of pro-am events that he's put on for us. So
Jason, now he used to compete more regularly. I don't know if he still does now, but he used to travel around and shoot with you. What's he been
yeah,
up to?
he's been running the shop. I mean, honestly, this year he should be able to get out and shoot. Last year he didn't get to shoot that much just because of the shop, and we're still developing our employees and kind of getting everything to where it needed to be. And
Right.
now we have a really good team behind us so that he can come and shoot the tournaments again. So he loves shooting. He shot Vegas, and he finished in the top flight there. So
Nice.
that was awesome for him.
Is he an indoor 3D? What's his game?
Both.
Both.
I mean,
okay.
I would say he loves shooting indoors more than I do, for sure. And then, but he loves shooting 3D also, and he shoots in the known 50 class. And but he's trying to decide this year if he wants to shoot known 50 or semi-pro, and all those decisions go into play. So
Yeah.
we'll see what he decides to do.
When he's at a tournament, are you able to stay up to date with what he's doing, or are you focused on your game and he just gives you updates?
It's funny you ask that question because he honestly won't tell me. Like,
oh, okay.
He purposely keeps me out of the mix of what's happening at the shop so that I don't think about it. I mean, I remember there was a time when we had first gotten married and I had went to a tournament and he burnt his hands to a crisp getting a soup bowl out of the microwave. And the man never told me until I got home. And I'm like, that's something you need to tell me. Why didn't you tell me? He played it off oh yeah, my hands are fine. I'm good. Nothing really happened. And Chris, I had to take him to the doctor when I got home and I was livid. So, I mean, he's pretty good at making sure I don't know what's happening here to distract me.
Did you win the tournament though?
I think I did.
There you go. Made it worth it. Well, and then also at these tournaments, you got your dad, John Fernandez. He's out there shooting as well.
Yeah. Dad is the kind of person that when we are at the tournament, it is nothing but positivity the entire time. So even at Foley this year, when I didn't get off to a good start the first day, he never said a word. It was all just positivity.
Nice.
And he's always been that way with my archery career, which is huge to have that person to kind of fall back on to talk to. And then he'll be like, okay, well, how can you fix it? And what can we do? And just be positive about the outcome.
I always like the story about your dad that when you were younger and he would go to tournaments and bring you and if somebody said, what'd you bring your daughter for? And he was like, I'm not shooting with you anymore.
Yeah, no, it's true. I remember the local archery range, Dad took me everywhere, at Daddy's Girl, and he took me everywhere. And he showed up to shoot with me one time, and the guy pulled him over to the side and was like, why'd you bring your daughter? We don't bring our wives and kids out here. And he was like, I will never shoot with you again.
That's incredible.
Ever.
Good for him.
And so, it's always been that thing. And it's been a thing that we've enjoyed to do together.
Right.
It's turned into, luckily for us, it's turned into be a major career and lifestyle for me. And it's just been phenomenal for our family all the way around.
So last year at Metropolis, I think it was, I can't remember, you had your best round that you've ever shot. Tell me about that. Tell me what your score was, and tell me what it was like when you were going through that round.
It was absolutely incredible all the way around. I had actually, day one, I had trailed Kaylee by, I think it was 4 points. I had trailed her, and I was pretty livid when I left that range. And I usually don't get mad. I usually visually don't get mad when I'm not happy with how I shot around, but I had managed the course incredibly well, and then it came down to kind of the last 4 targets, and I shot 2.8s in the last 4 targets. And that'll leave you kind of mad when you leave a range.
Yeah.
And so that was those 4 points was right there. And I left, and I grabbed my phone out, and I called Jason, and I said, I'm going after it tomorrow. I'm not leaving 1 ounce on that range. I'm going after it. And he was like, all right, okay. Because it was starting to be busy season at the shop, and he'd never heard me talk like that,
Yeah.
The next day, first target was like a 42-yard Russian boar, black. It was dark. It was early in the morning, and I think we all shot 10s on it, and I was first up. And then the next target was like a close deer at like 23 yards.
Yeah.
And Kaylee shot the 12, and she was first up, and I was last at that point. And I was like, well, and I think there were 2 in the top 12, and she had the lower one, and she had it pretty blocked. Like, well, I'm going for it. Like, what do I have to lose? I'm not going to sit here and just bleed out. So I hit it. And then the next target was a long 50-yard turkey. I don't think I missed, but maybe 2 12s in the first 10 targets. And by the time we got to the 10th target, I had taken the lead and just went on cruise control. I think I shot like 7 in a row at one time. And it almost got comical. I remember Emily looking at me, and she was like, yep, there's another. We all just kind of were in disbelief at what was happening, to be perfectly honest. Like, I just had the numbers. I was aiming at them, and I was hitting them. And
that's incredible.
Once I knew I got to like 22 up, which was I think it was the previous, or 18 up was the previous record, something like that.
Yeah.
Once I got to that point and I knew that was the course record, like all around, I thought about it for a second, and I was like, just keep going.
Yeah.
You've got like 6, 8 more left. Go. So I ended up shooting a 26 up round.
26.
Yeah. And
wow.
I think 16, because I was 6 up. I should know all this, but again, my brain. I can tell you every target I shot that day and how far it was.
Well, it's like you're saying that, Emily, Aaron, and Kaylee are there with you, because I don't shoot at your level anywhere near that, but I know I've shot enough that and I'm sure you've been there many times, where you have those days where you're shooting like that and you're always just missing those lines.
Oh, yeah.
So to have those days where they're all hitting, it's like, yeah, this is the way it should be.
Yeah, and to have those girls standing there enjoying what they're seeing and realizing that this is kind of like, I would have felt the same way had it been any one of them.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Any one of them. And to sit there and have them watch it and see it, and their faces light up, and they're like, you got another one. You got another.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty cool to share that moment with them. And even as competitors, to know that we respect each other.
For sure.
And not out of the park, but to really enjoy that moment with each other, because I've had the opportunity to watch them kill a range.
Yeah.
I've watched Kaylee do it. I've watched Emily do it. I mean, to see them kill a range, it's awesome to watch somebody when they're on fire like that. So
yeah.
I was just fortunate and blessed that it was me that day, but to share it with them was pretty awesome and something I'll never forget. So